Hey guys, how y'all doing today? My name is Franchise Fanatic and welcome back to the channel. And today, if you guys, there's another movie review. Now, this is going to be a bit of a doozy because I don't really know what to think about this movie, okay? The internet seemingly has made up its mind. By the way, we're talking about Madame Web, the newest Sony film. You can tell by the title and thumbnail. This is a strange movie because on the one hand, as I said 20 seconds ago, the internet says it's horrible and it's trash and you shouldn't see it and oh my god. And it's not as bad as what the internet says. I'd even say it's better than Morbius, okay? I think in terms of like the Sony movies, people like to shit on these movies because there's a lot of factors, right? You get the fact that they're Sony, okay, and they're not Disney, the MCU, okay, so they're all automatically worse. And then you've got the fact that, Venom 1 and Venom Let There Be Carnage, they're kind of goofy and they're kind of like, a lot of the internet memed them to hell and back, quite frankly. And the fact that every new Sony movie comes out, looking at you, Morbius, freaking it's Morbin time, you know the thing, right? I mean, we all shared in the joke, but that's the problem. Sony is trying to make competent films. Some of them are competent, some of them are not, but no matter how good the movie is, as soon as we see it's Marvel and Sony, the internet automatically goes, memes, and jokey, that's what they do. And that's the exact same thing that happened with Madame Web. Also, quite frankly, a lot of people know about Madame Web, okay? Not a lot do. I do because, I read some of I don't read every comic ever, but I've read some comics where she's in it. I don't even think she's in the the Lego Marvel games have, Howard the frickin' Duck, and they have, really weird off-the-wall, Moo Beast, Devil Dinosaur type, egghead type of characters, okay? And they don't have Madame Web in them. At least, maybe I'm wrong, but as far as I can remember, none of the Lego Marvel games have Madame Web in them. And those games have some really obscure people. And that's not to say she's an inherently bad character, because I like the fact that they're kind of, they're taking a swing at it, no pun intended. They're trying something different. I don't think the MCU would do this. However, it feels like they try to make two different movies. And again, keep this in mind, I don't hate this movie. I paid money for it. I watched it. Trust me. I went to a theater and I watched it. Okay, we spent money on this, and I don't know. It's just like an anomaly of a movie because Venom 1 and 2 they're cheesy and they're corny, but they're fun. Morbius is watchable, but it's pretty much not too great. It's just like it's slightly below average. This film is average. And it's not bad, and it's also not incredibly good. For example, they have some really good ideas in here, okay? Really good stuff. They have the fact that, how do we make Madame Web good? Because she's not a fighter, right? She's like a thinker. She's kind of like a weird, metaphorical kind of superhero. She's not necessarily, Spider-Man beating up and swinging guys, right? Echo Killshot and I were going to do Fractured Fate. I don't know if that's happening still, but Madame Web was in that. She was in episode 1, and if you remember from our web thing that we did, she's old and has gray hair, and she's in a wheelchair, and I'm not going to spoil the movie, but Dakota Johnson is not an old, frail, Aunt May looking woman, I don't know how old she is, but she's not like an old woman. So, this is clearly an origin story, okay? But the fact that they had the audacity to make the trailers kind of showcase, I don't want to say Madame Web in a costume or doing anything, but showing the three girls, which I barely even remember their names. I think one of them was Aya or Ava, something like that. I know Julia, Sydney Sweeney, Julia. So they kind of show them in their superhero outfits, and there's these shots of them. I think Julia's character, Sydney Sweeney's character, is upside down type thing, and they're swinging, and the one of them's got electrical powers, and the one's got this big friggin' afro. So we see them in their superhero attire, but I'm not kidding, that stuff is in the movie for less than 5 minutes. I'm not even effing kidding. It's less than, and that doesn't make the movie bad, but the fact that they marketed the movie to be something that it isn't, I have a Force Awakens poster right here. I love Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens, right? You guys know, the sequels are my jam. But they did market that movie to an extent of Finn. Oh, Finn's got a lightsaber. Maybe he's a Jedi! And then, no, it's Rey. Which, again, the sequels and The Force Awakens, those are not bad movies. They're really effing good movies, but they did market that a little bit differently, which is kind of a bummer. Same thing happened with this film. It's not a really good movie. It's not bad either. It's a really hard thing for me to review because, you know, you have the internet saying it's dog choo-choo, and then me saying, okay, it's not as bad, but it's nowhere near, like, if you're expecting an MCU production, even like Thor Love and Thunder is more competent than this, just in terms of the action and whatever. But in the stuff that we're promised, we see it's barely in it though. This is a straight up origin story of Madame Web, of Cassandra Webb, and just kind of seeing how she becomes who she is that we know her of in the comics. And we see all these three characters. There's the three teens that this guy in a pretty, honestly, kind of cool looking Spider-Man suit-esque Ezekiel Simmons. The guy straight up looks like Mexican Adam Driver, but he doesn't have the acting forte of Adam Driver. He's probably one of, if not the worst Marvel villain I've seen in a movie in quite a long time, okay? His motives, they're pretty effing clear, okay? Like, he's like, alright, clearly he's the bad guy. I'm a bad guy, and his vision is, I'm going to die in the future to these three teenagers that we see. But they're not teenagers when they kill him, they're adults. So he's trying to prevent his own death by killing these three teenage girls. And that is an interesting plot, okay? This feels like a psychological thriller. It feels like something my mom would read in like an adult horror novel, okay? This feels like something that, it feels like a good book synopsis, and then they just like yanked it out and put it in a movie. But the villain, I don't give two shits about this guy. I don't care about his, I don't care that you're gonna die when you're older. I don't, make me care about you, you know what I mean? And it doesn't help that his acting is really wooden. His writing is, This movie has some of the weirdest writing since, like, the prequel trilogy. I'm not even kidding. It's not downright horrible like Padme going, I truly, deeply love you. Or, like, you know, or in episode 3 where Anakin's like, I love you. She's like, no, I only love you because I'm so in love. It's like, shut up! You know, don't, stop it! You know what I mean? Don't say that. Horrible. But this movie is very much, it's almost there, man. I mean, when Ezekiel is trying to get the code to something, he kills this chick in his bed, and he has like this weird, you know, spider poison thing. He grabs her and she dies. And I didn't know what was happening. I thought he like injected her with a poison. No, he just like omits poison. I think I had a T-shirt that did that once. But at the same time, you have this idea that okay, he's a bad guy, but he kills this woman, and his writing is just. I don't remember the exact line, but he kills her, and then he's like, he whispers in her ear like, just be careful that you weren't the one to die today because I didn't see your future, and you weren't the one to die because of your future. And I'm like, what? I didn't say that out loud, but I'm sitting in my head, and I'm like, this is crazy. This is just a really weird example of writing. And then, you know, there's also scenes where Cassie's trying to do some, you know, research onto why she's getting these weird powers where she can see into the future, and she's, you know, kind of talking out loud. And I know they did that in the comics where, like, if you read an old style comic book, like an old Spider-Man comic, Peter Parker, literally, I'm not kidding, there are pages, sometimes 1 to 3 pages of just effing exposition of what Peter's, you know, thinking. But he's not thinking it, he's just talking out loud. And they kind of fixed that in you know, future comics, I want to say in like the 90s or whatever, onward, where instead of talking out loud, they use think bubbles or thought bubbles. That's fine. But it's like that, you know what I mean? It's like, I swear to God, I know, you talk to yourself, okay? Everyone in the world talks to themselves at some point when they're alone. Everyone does it, I get it. But the things that they say are like stupidly obvious, where it's like, yeah, no shit, you know, it's like, really? The guy that can walk on spider, the guy that can freaking wall climb is the bad guy, really? You know, it's like that kind of stuff. And, maybe they think the audience is too stupid. I have no idea. There's also no post-credit scenes. So it seems like they just kind of shat this movie out. There's a woman in this movie who... Ben Parker's in this, by the way. Peter's dad, I guess. Ben Parker's in this. And Ben Parker's mission is to watch over not only these 3 women at one point, but also to watch over a pregnant woman. And the pregnant... She gives birth, it's fine. But it's just a really weird thing for him to be doing. And at the same time... like, I feel like this movie, like, was birthed out of Sony's, I can't say vagina, I just said it, but, you know, you know what I'm trying to say, okay? They pooped it out, you know what I mean? That's what they did. And, because there's no post-credit scene, I don't remember really any marketing for the movie. I think there was, like, 1 trailer, and I was like, alright, whatever. Like, this is such a whatever movie. Like, I like Madam Web, and this could have been done better. And to be straight honest with you guys, it was fine. This is not a horrible, horrible movie. But the writing is really weird at times, where they say stuff out loud where it's like, yeah, no duh. You know what I mean? Or the villain is probably the worst part, man. It's just, it's nonsensical. His motives make no sense. Besides, I get that he's trying to preserve his life, I guess. But it's just not done to an extent where I would really care. You know what I mean? Like, I whatever. Like, he dies, and I'm like, okay. Like, it's not even a spoiler. Like, yeah, of course he dies. They're not going to make a Madam Web 2. You know what I mean? Come on. It's obvious. But the worst part is that it could have been so much better, but at the same time, what we got wasn't abhorrently awful. You know what I mean? Like, there are some the cinematography is really good. It's like, there's some really good scenes in here. There's a scene, of course, where we first find out that Cassie's having these weird, Cassandra is having these really weird visions of the future, and the way they kind of play into that is smart. I think it's really cool, kind of giving like a sense of deja vu, and this character isn't like, what's happening, where? You know, she handles that pretty well. I think Dakota Johnson is fine as Madam Web. I think she does a good job in there. I think that there's really I don't want to say powerful scene, because I don't want to give this movie too much credit than what it deserves, but it's a powerful scene where she kind of tells this person, hey, let me drive. And he's like, no, I'm not going to do that now. And then she lets him drive, and she's like, oh, I should have done something. And then this character dies in a really, really good one-take shot. And I was like, okay, that was like, I almost said, I was like, this is cool. I mean, it's really effed up the guy died. But I'm like, wow, it's cool that they filmed it that way. And they kind of did unique things with that. And again, the visuals are fine. When Ezekiel, the bad guy's in a Spider-Man suit, and he's, jumping from rooftop or car to car, it's a little ropey. It had like a really, really kind of small budget for what a Sony Marvel movie would be. I mean, they really didn't care. They were like, yeah, put I think it was like 80 million or 8 million maybe. It was pretty small in terms of budget. So some of that looks a little bit, wonky, but there's some really good visuals where Madam Web is kind of, experimenting with her powers and just kind of testing what she can do as far as the Madam Web abilities, and the visualization of that is quite cool. I think it's kind of unique. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it is a cool little representation there. They add some cool lore with like spider people in the jungle, of course. There's that meme. Again, the meme with the line of, my mom was in the jungle when she died. I don't know the exact meme. It's all over the internet, okay? It's a meme, trust me. But that's the problem. This movie, people didn't have any interest, and then they found out it was Sony, and then everyone likes to shit on the Sony movies because they're all just giant jokes, and then, this movie is genuinely trying to be good. It's trying to be seen as a good, normal comic book movie. Like, it's not supposed to be an objectively horrible movie. Like, it's trying to be something. And people saw it, and they saw the 13% on Rotten Tomatoes, and then they said, well, this is a shit movie. I'm not going to go spend my money on that. I'm not going to see it. This looks stupid anyway. I'm not going to watch this. No one likes it, so why would I spend my money on it, right? Waste of time, waste of money. So naturally, I wasted my money. But at the same time, I don't want to say wasted, so to speak, because it wasn't bad. Again, it's a really weird movie to review, because some of it works really good. Like, some of the jokes are there. Some of the cinematography is good. The visualization is good. The action scenes that are, the one or two that are in there are pretty good. And then there's this, the plot of her seeing the future, and I think that is executed somewhat well. But, maybe on the weird one, because there is a lot of talking, but there's some really good scenes where if you actually pay attention to the movie and don't sleep through it, I'll get to that in a second, but if you don't sleep through this movie and pay attention to what the characters are saying, there are payoffs. And I was sitting there, okay, oh, that's why they had that conversation. Oh, that's why they did that in the motel. Oh, that's why they did that in the diner. Because all of it does pay off in the end. Maybe not as great as you would want, but it does pay off, right? The makings of a really good movie are here. And some of it is genuinely good. Some of it, though, is genuinely bad. And that kind of what takes it down a notch for me, just being a little bit kind of average. But there was a guy, I didn't look at him, because you know how when you like go in a movie theater and like there's some weird ass guy or girl like snorting and making all these weird noises, and I swear to God, he had like a pretend this is a bag of popcorn. He was making all the weirdest and loudest noises you could with a bag of popcorn. I swear to God, I wanted to punch him in the face. And then 30 minutes before the movie's ending, right, there's a few talking scenes, and then there's this big action-packed finale. This motherfudger to my left I didn't look at. My mom said he was an old guy. I didn't look at him because I didn't want to make eye contact with it. But he goes, and he starts snoring like a dragon, and it's like really effing loud snoring. And I'm like, why the fuck are you? Why are you snoring? Like, it's not that boring. And I get maybe he's old. I don't know. Like I said, I didn't look at him, but I'm like, dude, you paid money for this movie. I don't care if it's the shittiest movie, but you paid for this movie. Watch it. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm franchise fanatic and I respect movies even if they're complete trash. Like you paid for it, so watch it. You know, like I don't get it. So like he missed like 45% of the movie. So I hear him go like that in like the last 5 minutes, and you know they're showing the end and Madame Web's in her costume, and you know it's this happy ending, and it's like, you missed a lot of it, you know what I mean? So, I don't know. It's just kind of that has nothing to do with the movie or the review. I just wanted to tell you, don't sleep during movies, okay? I don't care how old you are. If you pay for a movie, just watch the freaking movie, okay? I don't care if it's bad. Just you paid for it. Please watch it. Anyway, that's a rant. Maybe for I'm not going to make another video. I'm just saying, that's a rant. Anyway, though, the movie, that is a bit, I understand why he was sleeping maybe, because it is a bit slow, okay? There's like 2 action scenes of the whole movie, and they're not the best action scenes ever. There's a really cool scene in the diner where like Ezekiel like flips his knife around, and then it's a dream or whatever, it's a vision. They do a lot of that. There's a lot of match cutting as well, where like a character will like slam, you know, his or her fist on like a table, and then jump cuts to like her slamming an ambulance car. There's a lot of that. First time I was like, oh, that's cool, and then it just kept going. You know, it is what it is. So look, point of the video here is that it's not that bad. Okay, it's not the worst thing ever made, but it should have been a hell of a lot better. And I will tell you, it is better than Morbius. I would say it's on par with Venom: Let There Be Carnage. I still think Venom 1 is the best Sony movie. I know the Amazing Spider-Man films are Sony, but we're kind of past that now. We're in like this new era. I do think that it's not bad though. I mean, there are some genuinely, you know, solid things that happen in this movie. Like they try to do it, right? They attempted to make a good movie. And because it's Sony, because they're all memed right now, and Morbin time and Florbin time or whatever, it's Madame Weapon time. No one is seeing this film. It's not making any money. No one likes it. And again, I kind of understand, because it is painfully average. I walked out of the theater going, okay, I enjoyed it. Like, I didn't hate it. Like, I had fun with it. But there were a lot of weird moments. And again, I look for this stuff, right? Because I review this for you guys, right? I'm looking for the acting, for the writing, for the special effects. There's some CGI that's a little wonky. There's some writing that is really bad. Like, really bad. There's some acting, especially the Ezekiel guy in this scene where Cassandra meets some guy in the rainforest toward the end. He kind of trains her. He's got really bad acting. It feels like characters are, like, just saying things. Like, Ezekiel's like, I pay you a lot of money to do this, and you have to find me the girls. It's like, oh, slow down. You know what I mean? You need to... If he was like, I pay you a lot of money, and you need to find the girls. Or so, yeah, obviously, that's still bad, but you know what I mean? Something along the line. It seems like he was just reading his lines, and then he just had to pee or something. He's like, I got to take a pee, so let me read these lines really fast, and then the director was like, all right, that's the only take we're doing. We're going home. We're going to the rainforest or whatever to edit this thing. It's just baffling, because some of it's good, and some of it's bad. So I'm going to give Madame Web a C. I expected it to be a lot worse, honestly. My expectations were lower than dirt. And maybe that's why I'm not giving it like an F or a D. Trust me though, if I was, I'm not going to lie to you guys. If I really love a movie, I really love it for reasons. If I hate a movie, and there are movies I hate, trust me, I don't love every movie. I know some people, I don't. There are movies I genuinely hate and think are F material. This one is not F material though. I will say it's not great, but it's average, and honestly, maybe that's what we were all expecting. But, you know, it is Madame Web. I think it could be done a lot better. I think the ideas were there. The execution was there for the most part, but it did fall apart a bit, and at the end, it just kind of washes over you as it was entertaining, but it's certainly not memorable, and it could have been a lot better. But tell me in the comments down below what you think about Madame Web. I had to give my rant on the sleeping guy, because I'm 25, I have never in my life been in a theater with a sleeping guy, and I wanted to throw my popcorn at him and tell him to shut up because he was snoring like a dragon. But still, it didn't affect my rating or anything. I just thought I'd share that, but yeah, it was kind of funny. But overall, to conclude, like I said, I don't want to say I recommend you go see it, but I will say don't trust the critics. Don't even trust me. I think it's alright. You know what I mean? If you watch it and you love it, great. If you watch it and you hate it, whatever. But make your own opinion up. Okay, go to the movie theater, support the film, spend your real money on it, and then make your own opinion. Maybe you'll hate it, maybe you'll love it, I don't know. I don't think it does deserve the 13% on Rotten Tomatoes. I never trust Rotten Tomatoes anyway. I think they're full of trash, honestly. Again, you know my stance. Make your own opinion up. There's a lot of movies I love that no one likes. You know, I mean, there's a lot of movies I like. You know, I'm not a big fan of Frozen. That movie's, oh my god, that movie's amazing. You know what I mean? So it's just, everyone's different, you know? But I don't want to say I recommend it, like I said, but if you're a little bit interested, like the little baby bit, go to the theater and make your own opinion up. Again, I think it's a C. It's average. And it could have been a lot better, but it's not actually like the worst thing ever. Thank you guys, and we'll see you in the next video.